Shifting our focus now to Pakistan. Pakistanis appear to be increasingly angry with the Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and Field Marshal Asim Munir. Why is that? Because in Washington, US President Donald Trump has praised both Sharif and Asim Munir for backing his Gaza peace proposal. Trump, speaking from the White House, called the two leaders incredible and credited them with supporting his 20-point formula to end the Israel-Hamas war right from the start. Trump said that Islamabad is fully on board with the plan and has publicly endorsed it. That praise followed Trump's Oval Office meeting last week with Shehbaz Sharif and Asim Munir, where interestingly both Munir and Sharif were left waiting across the room in the Oval Office, while Trump was signing executive orders and talking with the reporters there. The praise from Washington, though, has triggered massive anger back in Pakistan. It's important to note here that at the United Nations General Assembly, Shehbaz Sharif condemned Israel's bombardment of Gaza, describing it as one of history's darkest chapters. He called it a quote-unquote genocidal assault against women and children and demanded an urgent ceasefire. Yet, despite those words, opposition leaders in Pakistan saying the Prime Minister and Munir have betrayed Pakistan's traditional pro-Palestinian position by throwing their weight behind Trump's blueprint. The Palestine Action Coalition in Pakistan denounced Shehbaz's stance as shameful and accused him of selling out national principles. According to the group, the government's acceptance of Trump's plan insults the sacrifices Pakistanis have made for the Palestinian cause. Notably, during the same visit to the United States, Pakistan's Prime Minister also met with Daniel Rosen, the president of the American Jewish Congress. All of these developments coming amid massive row in Pakistan over the inclusion of a media activist with a pro-Israel tilt. In the past, photos surfaced of columnist and social media activist Shama Junejo seated behind Pakistan Defense Minister Khwaja Asif at a UN Security Council session on artificial intelligence. Junejo, who in the past posts expressed admiration for Israel and Prime Minister Netanyahu, claimed that she was invited as an advisor to Shehbaz Sharif's delegation. Her presence caused outrage on social media, where some users accused the government of sneaking an Israel supporter into Pakistan's official mission. Khwaja Asif himself demanded a response on X, saying only the Foreign Office could explain how exactly she ended up being there. The Pakistan Foreign Office later insisted that Junejo was not on the official delegation list and that her seat had no formal approval. But the explanation has not silenced the matter. Pakistani politicians like Shireen Mazari and Fawad Chaudhry slamming the government for allowing Junejo's entry on social media. PTI leader Asad Kaiser raised even sharper questions like, who cleared Junejo to fly on the official Pakistani VIP aircraft from London to New York? Who granted her access to the state files? Who issued her UN passes? And most importantly, who authorized her to sit directly behind the defense minister? Not just that, Kaiser accused both Khwaja Asif and the foreign minister of hiding the truth, warning that Junejo's meetings with the Israeli diplomats raise serious concerns about Pakistan's diplomatic integrity. And the uproar has fueled suspicion amid politicians and citizens on social media that the government is softening its hardline stance on Israel in exchange for American favor. And with the civil society groups arguing that no deal, no dollars, no foreign pressure can erase Pakistan's historic commitment to Al-Aqsa and the Palestinian struggle. They demand Shehbaz Sharif withdraw his endorsement of Trump's formula and apologize to the nation. In fact, in a post on social media activist Shama Junejo alleging that former Prime Minister Imran Khan's government entered into back-channel diplomacy talks with Israel, further claiming that a PTI member of the National Assembly of Pakistan had proposed to recognize Israel in the Pakistan Assembly, further reiterating the point that Pakistan has been acting dubiously and hypocritically when it comes to Israel. At the core of this matter, basically, lie several crucial questions. Has Pakistan's leadership traded decades of unwavering support for Palestine for gains in Washington? Is Pakistan trying to join the Abraham Accords? Abdul Basit, former High Commissioner of Pakistan to India, in a post on social media has said that it would be a huge mistake by Pakistan to join the Abraham Accords before the establishment of the state of Palestine. And for many citizens, politicians, even former diplomats, Trump's praise for Pakistan is perhaps a sign of betrayal. The debate in Islamabad is only growing and the pressure on Sharif and Munir is rising. The United States has issued a big ultimatum to Hamas. Standing beside the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, U.S. President Donald Trump has given Hamas just 72 hours to accept what he calls a new Gaza deal, a plan that promises an end to the war in Gaza if hostages are released and Gaza is demilitarized. But it also comes with a warning. Reject it, and Israel will have America's full backing to, in Trump's own words, finish the job. What does finish the job really mean? If the war drags on for, say, another 6 months, how many more will die is the question that many are asking. What is the true price of refusal if that happens? The United Nations, which has condemned Israel for its actions in Gaza and called it genocide, quote unquote, has welcomed the plan. The European Union has welcomed it. Russia has said it hopes that the plan is implemented. Even Israelis are welcoming the plan reportedly. But questions still there over whether Hamas would accept the plan or not. Already, Palestinians have expressed disappointment, saying that the peace plan, as it stands right now, only serves the U.S. and Israel.
The Palestinian people will not accept a new mandate. They will not accept giving up their rights, and they will not give up international law. We reject this plan.
This plan falls in Trump and Israel's favor. They have interests in Gaza. They want to end Gaza in any way possible. Gas in Gaza, they want to turn into Trump resorts, and he wants to finish his plan. And all these complications are from Trump and Netanyahu, and if they wanted to solve, they would have solved it a long time ago. We are the victims here. The whole world is watching us today as we get slaughtered. No one is standing with us, and all this is in favor of the Jews, and the whole world today are serving Israel.
And speaking at a joint White House press conference following a meeting with Netanyahu, Donald Trump said they were beyond very close to an elusive peace deal for Gaza, beyond very close. But he also warned Hamas that Israel would have full U.S. support to take whatever action it deemed necessary if they rejected what he has offered. The White House released a 20-point document, basically, that called for an immediate ceasefire, an exchange of hostages held by Hamas, release of Palestinian prisoners held by Israel, a staged Israeli withdrawal from Gaza, Hamas disarmament, and a transitional government led by an international body. It is being reported that Trump went into Monday's meeting seeking to overcome Netanyahu's misgivings over parts of the plan. But it was not immediately clear whether the Trump administration and Israel had resolved all their differences. Their differences had included the possibility of a future Palestinian state, which Netanyahu has forcefully rejected, and also any role for the Palestinian Authority in post-war governance of the Gaza Strip. What we did see is Trump thanking Netanyahu for agreeing to the plan and for, in his words, trusting that if we work together, we can bring an end to the death and destruction that we have seen for so many years, decades, even centuries, quote unquote. Standing next to Trump, Netanyahu, in fact, responded saying that he supports the plan as it achieves Israel's war aims. But it is also important to know here that Hamas remains the key to whether Trump's peace proposals actually get off the ground or not. Hamas's absence from the talks and its previous repeated refusals to disarm, raising doubts about the plan's viability. Hamas, remember, had triggered this when on October 7, 2023, it carried out a coordinated attack on Israel, taking hostages. 48 of them it still holds, 20 of them still alive, according to Israel. An official briefed on the talks has said that Qatar and Egypt have shared the document with Hamas, which told the mediators that they will review it in good faith and then respond. This was Netanyahu's fourth White House visit, by the way, since Trump returned to office in January this year. The Israeli Prime Minister was looking to bolster his country's most important relationship after a number of Western leaders formally embraced Palestinian statehood at the United Nations last week in defiance of the US and Israel. But even though Trump had sharply criticized the recognition of statehood as a prize for Hamas, Monday's meeting marked a stepped-up diplomatic effort from the United States president, who had vowed during his presidential campaign, remember, to quickly bring the war to a close. And he has since repeatedly claimed that a peace deal was near, only for it to fail to materialize. Netanyahu, while praising Trump as a friend of Israel, put some distance between himself and some items in Trump's plan, including the reforms being demanded of the internationally recognized Palestinian Authority and the prospects for eventual Palestinian statehood. It all comes as Netanyahu is under mounting pressure from the hostages' families and, according to public opinion polls, a war-weary Israeli public. But he also risks the collapse of his governing coalition if the far-right ministers believe he has made too many concessions for a peace deal. And as for the Palestinian Authority news agency reporting that it has welcomed Trump's efforts on Monday and reiterated its commitment to work with America and partners to reach a comprehensive deal. The plan coming as Israel has launched one of its biggest offensives of the war this month, with Netanyahu saying he aims to wipe out Hamas in its final version. In fact, the war has left much of Gaza in ruin and caused a major humanitarian crisis. How many hours in a day do you end up spending on your phone? What if there was a limit to that? We are not talking about self-imposed limits here. Some residents in Japan are gearing up for major changes. The country's first citywide smartphone use cap takes effect this week. What is this all about? The city of Toyoaki is asking residents to cut smartphone use to just 2 hours a day, only 2 hours, sparking questions like, should the authorities or the governments, for that matter, even have a say and control how much time you end up spending on your phone? Should they be the ones making decisions about personal tech habits? Let's first tell you more about what's actually happening in Japan. Starting Wednesday, the residents there in the city have been encouraged to limit device use. Starting Wednesday, residents in that city have been encouraged to limit device use during leisure hours, defined as time outside work, study, or even daily necessities, to about 2 hours a day. The city has also advised the primary school-aged children to refrain from using their devices after 9 p.m. and older students after 10 p.m. The ordinance, passed September 22nd by majority vote, is believed to be Japan's first citywide screen time guideline for all residents, not just children. It excludes schoolwork, job-related use, and household tasks. City officials saying the rule is symbolic and not binding. Exceeding the 2-hour guideline, even by several hours, is acceptable, provided sleep and family communication is not being disrupted. In fact, the mayor has defended the ordinance, saying the goal is not to police behavior, but to encourage healthier sleep and stronger family relationships. The policy has drawn mixed reactions. Some have praised it as a much needed intervention, while others are accusing the city of overstepping its role. The initiative now joining a wave of global efforts to try and address screen limits, particularly among young people. The fact is, in this day and age, there is no running away from your digital devices, from technology. But the key here is in moderation. Basically, self-reflection is important. You could be asking yourself, is using tech occupying your time and attention that you feel could be better used elsewhere? There are apps that temporarily lock people out of their devices, luxury retreats limiting guest Wi-Fi access, restaurants that ban phones at the table. Such solutions promise to also help boost well-being by letting people reconnect with real life. Interest in digital detoxing has been growing steadily recently. If you are dealing with the constant cravings and feel the need to address it, you should try and understand perhaps if there is dependency and how it impacts you. You could also try turning off notifications, for example. If you need to try and reduce the time you spend on your devices or watch your screen time and put limits on it. If you need to, there are ways to take control of your devices and the time that you spend on them. Reports suggesting the U.S. Treasury's gold reserves are now valued at over $1 trillion at the current market prices. Now, that's a figure that's 90 times more than their official balance sheet value. The substantial gain is a result of gold's remarkable 45% surge in 2025. Other precious metals have also seen significant gains. Silver has been a standout performer, rising by 53% this year, while platinum is up around 50%. Palladium up around 39%. The primary drivers for this rally across precious metals being a combination of geopolitical instability, economic uncertainty, and central bank policies. Global trade conflicts and geopolitical tensions have also led the investors to seek the traditional safe haven of precious metals. At the same time, the Federal Reserve's resumed interest rate cuts have weakened the US dollar, making these commodities more attractive to international buyers. Other central banks around the world have also been actively increasing their gold reserves to diversify away from the US dollar. And looking ahead, financial institutions have varying projections for these metals. Several major banks anticipate gold's upward trajectory to continue, with some setting targets higher than $4,000 per ounce. For silver, its dual role as a precious metal and an industrial commodity is a key factor. Analysts expect more upside for silver as it is supported by demand from the green energy sector, including solar panels and electric vehicles. Platinum, for that matter, also expected to benefit from the industrial demand, while palladium faces some headwinds from substitution with platinum. While the value of these tangible assets has increased, experts are also saying that this is a signal of growing distrust in traditional financial instruments. The devastating tragedy in Tamil Nadu, where at least 41 people, including young children, lost their lives in a stampede during a rally led by actor-turned-politician Vijay in Karur district, raising sharp questions about accountability, planning, and the safety of public gatherings overall. The chaos reportedly began with a crowd of supporters surging towards the actor's campaign bus, and in that frantic rush, several people fell, and within minutes, the situation spiraled into a deadly stampede. Survivors recounted scenes of panic and helplessness, with cries for aid drowned in the frenzy of the crowd. Questions being raised including, why was the crowd not controlled? Why did the organizers fail to anticipate such a surge, knowing the popularity of actors like Vijay? The actor, by the way, heads the party and had arrived several hours late to the rally, and in a video message afterwards, he distanced himself, it seems, from responsibility, accusing the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister of using the tragedy to target him politically. He also alleged a conspiracy, arguing that no such incidents had occurred in his other rallies across 5 districts. But then does passing the blame in a way absolve anyone? Because families of the victims are not looking for political accusations. They are demanding answers. And this incident is not an isolated one. India has witnessed a disturbing rise in stampedes recently, each claiming innocent lives. Just this June, during RCP's victory celebration in Bengaluru, at least 11 fans were crushed to death. Who authorized the crowd control there, and why did it fail, was the question asked. Earlier this year, in February, meanwhile, at the New Delhi railway station, 18 pilgrims bound for the Kumbh Mela were killed in a midnight stampede. Once again, who took responsibility? Who ensured the safety of thousands moving through a congested station? The Kumbh Mela itself saw tragedy in January when 30 devotees were trampled at the Sangam. Despite decades of experience in managing one of the world's largest religious gatherings, basic crowd safety and management continuing to remain a major issue. And let's not forget last December when chaos during a screening of Pushpa 2 in Hyderabad took the life of a woman and left a boy injured. Fans had gathered to catch a glimpse of the actor Allu Arjun during the premiere. So tonight we are asking, why are mass gatherings in India so poorly planned? Why do political leaders, authorities trade accusations instead of actually addressing the systemic failures? Most importantly, how many more innocent lives really have to be lost before public safety becomes the utmost first priority at rallies, festivals, celebrations? Because until accountability is enforced, until crowd management becomes more than just an afterthought, these tragedies may just continue to repeat.
To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.